The next day, Daehyun cleaned their small apartment 3 times. He wanted everything to be perfect for the Empress's visit. Hana helped by organizing her toys and putting her drawings on the refrigerator. She wore her best dress, the one with flowers on it that used to belong to her mother. When the doorbell rang, Daehyun took a deep breath. He opened the door and found the Empress standing there, but she looked different. She had made herself smaller, about the size of a tall human, probably so she could fit inside his apartment. Yuna stood beside her, bouncing with excitement. Behind them, security guards waited in the hallway. But the Empress gestured for them to stay outside. "Thank you for welcoming us into your home," the Empress said formally. "The honor is ours." "Your Majesty," Daehyun replied, bowing slightly. He still felt nervous, but he tried not to show it. Hana peeked out from behind her father's leg. She stared at Yuna with wide eyes full of wonder. Yuna stared back, equally curious. For a moment, both children were shy. Then Hana smiled. "Hi, I'm Hana. Do you want to see my toys?" Yuna's scales brightened with happiness. "Yes, I am Yuna. I have never played with human toys before." Just like that, the ice was broken. The 2 children ran off to Hana's small room, their laughter filling the apartment. The Empress watched them go, and Daehyun saw something soft in her expression. Love. She loved her daughter the same way he loved Hana. "Please sit down," Daehyun said, gesturing to his worn couch. "I made tea. It is just simple earth tea, but I hope you will like it." The Empress sat carefully, as if afraid her weight might break the furniture. "I am sure it will be wonderful. Thank you." Daehyun poured the tea with shaking hands. He could not believe he was serving tea to an Empress in his tiny living room. The walls were covered with Hana's crayon drawings. The furniture was old and patched. Everything here showed how poor they were. But the Empress did not seem to care. She picked up her cup and sipped the tea. "This is very good. Simple but honest. Like you." "Thank you, Your Majesty," Daehyun said, not sure if that was a compliment or not. "Please call me Mirai when we are in private like this," the Empress said. "All day long people call me Your Majesty and Empress and bow and scrape. It grows tiring. You have earned the right to use my name." I could not," Daehyun stammered. "That would be disrespectful." "It would be respectful to honor my request," Mirai said with a slight smile. "Besides, if our daughters are going to be friends, we should be friendly too, should we not?" Daehyun nodded slowly. "Then please call me Daehyun." "Just Daehyun." From Hana's room came the sound of giggling. Both parents smiled at the sound. Mirai looked around the apartment, taking in all the details. She noticed the pictures of Daehyun's late wife on the shelf. "Your wife?" she asked gently. "Yes. Her name was Jiwoo. She died 3 years ago during the integration conflicts. Some humans did not want aliens to come to Earth. There was violence. She was caught in an explosion." Daehyun's voice was quiet. It still hurt to talk about it. Mirai was silent for a moment. "I am sorry for your loss. I too know what it is to lose a mate. My husband died defending our empire from an enemy called the Vran Collective. That was 50 Earth years ago. But the pain never truly goes away, does it?" Daehyun looked up, surprised. You understand?" "More than you know," Mirai said. "I raised Yuna alone. I ruled an empire alone. There were many nights when I wanted to give up, when the weight of everything felt too heavy, but I looked at my daughter and knew I had to be strong for her. I imagine you feel the same about Hana." "Yes," Daehyun said softly. "Exactly that. Some days I do not know how I will pay the bills or put food on the table. But then Hana smiles at me and I find the strength to keep going. She is my reason for everything. That is what makes you a good father," Mirai said. "Not wealth or status or power. It is that love, that determination to give your child a better life than you had. I see it in how you talk about her. I saw it yesterday when you gave away your food without hesitation." They talked for hours. Mirai told him about life on the Dreven homeworld, about the challenges of ruling an empire while being a mother. Daehyun told her about Earth, about his struggles to make ends meet, about the small joys he found in Hana's laughter. They shared stories about their lost spouses, about sleepless nights worrying about their children, about the fear that they were not doing enough. In the other room, Hana and Yuna were becoming fast friends. Yuna was amazed by human toys. She had never seen crayons before, and she spent a long time drawing with Hana. The 2 girls colored pictures together, with Yuna carefully using her claws to hold the crayons. Do you have toys on your planet? Hana asked. Yes, but they are different, Yuna explained. And I do not get to play with them much. Mama says I have to learn important things because I will be Empress one day. But sometimes I just want to play like a normal child. That sounds lonely, Hana said. It is, Yuna admitted. I do not have friends my age. Everyone treats me like I am special and different. But you treat me like I am just Yuna. You are just Yuna, Hana said simply. You are my friend. Friends do not care about fancy titles. Yuna hugged her, careful not to scratch with her claws. I am glad I got lost yesterday. If I had not, I would never have met you and your papa. When it was time for Mirai and Yuna to leave, both children were sad. Yuna did not want to go back to the palace. Hana did not want her new friend to leave. Can Yuna come back and visit again? Hana asked her father. Daehyun looked at Mirai. The Empress nodded. Of course. In fact, I would like to make this a regular visit. Once a week, perhaps? Yuna needs friends, and I find your company refreshing, Daehyun. You do not lie to me or try to win my favor. You are honest and kind. That is rare in my world. We would be honored, Daehyun said. And he meant it. Despite his initial fear, he found that he actually enjoyed talking to Mirai. She understood his struggles in a way that few others did. As Mirai and Yuna prepared to leave, the Empress paused at the door. Daehyun, I want you to know something. You may think your home is small and simple. You may think you have nothing valuable to offer. But you are wrong. You have given my daughter something I could never give her myself. A normal childhood moment. A friend who sees her as just another child. That is priceless. She reached into a pocket and pulled out a small crystal. This is a communication device. If you or Hana ever need anything at all, you can use this to contact me directly. Consider it a token of friendship between our families. Daehyun took the crystal carefully. It was warm to the touch and glowed faintly. Thank you, Mirai. That means more than you know. Over the next few weeks, the visits became regular. Every week, Mirai and Yuna would come to the apartment. Sometimes they would stay for hours with the children playing while the adults talked. Daehyun learned about Draven culture, about their values of honor and family. Mirai learned about human resilience, about how humans could find joy even in difficult circumstances. Hana and Yuna became like sisters. They taught each other games from their different worlds. Yuna showed Hana how Draven children played with light and fire. Hana taught Yuna about human stories and songs. The two were inseparable during their visits. One day, Mirai brought food from her homeworld. Daehyun was nervous about trying alien food, but he did not want to be rude. To his surprise, it was delicious. Mirai laughed at his shocked expression. Did you think we ate something terrible? She asked, amused. I did not know what to expect, Daehyun admitted. But this is wonderful. Thank you for sharing your culture with us. You shared your culture with us first, Mirai pointed out. You welcomed us into your home when you had every reason to be afraid. You treated us like friends, not like dangerous aliens. That courage is what makes humans special. As the friendship between the families grew stronger, Daehyun began to see past his fears. He realized that despite their differences, they were not so different after all. Both he and Mirai were parents trying to do their best. Both wanted their children to be happy and safe. Both knew the pain of loss and the strength required to keep going. One evening, as Mirai and Yuna were leaving after another visit, Hana asked her father a question. Papa, is it okay to love someone who is different from us? Of course it is, Daehyun said. Why do you ask? Because I love Yuna like a sister. But she is not human. Does that matter? Daehyun knelt down and hugged his daughter. No, sweetheart. Love does not care about what species we are or what we look like. Love only cares about what is in our hearts. And you and Yuna have beautiful hearts. Hana smiled and hugged him back. As Daehyun held his daughter, he thought about how much his life had changed since that day he gave away his sandwich. He had found friendship in the most unexpected place. He had learned that kindness could bridge any gap, even between species from different worlds. What he did not know was that their peaceful happiness was about to be shattered. Danger was coming, and soon he would have to prove his courage once again. 3 months passed since that first meeting. The friendship between the two families grew stronger with each visit. Today was special. Hana's daycare was putting on a small performance, and Mirai had asked if she could bring Yuna to watch. It would be the first time they appeared together in public. The Human Cultural Center was filled with parents and children. When the Empress arrived with Yuna and only 2 guards, people stared in shock. The most powerful being in the galaxy had come to watch a simple children's play. But Mirai ignored the stares. She sat next to Daehyun in the audience with Yuna on her other side. "Thank you for inviting us," Mirai said quietly. "Yuna has been talking about this all week." "Hana is nervous but excited," Daehyun replied. "She knows you are here and she wants to do her best." The play began. It was a simple story about friendship and kindness, performed by 5- and 6-year-old children. Hana played a small flower that helped a lost butterfly find its way home. She spoke her lines clearly, and Daehyun felt his heart swell with pride. When Hana finished her part, Yuna clapped excitedly, her scales glowing bright with happiness. Mirai smiled warmly. In this moment, they were just parents watching children perform. Species did not matter. Titles did not matter. Only love mattered. Then everything went wrong. The first explosion came from the entrance. The blast threw people to the ground and filled the air with smoke and screams. Daehyun's military training from years ago kicked in immediately. He grabbed Yuna and pulled her down, covering her with his body. Mirai roared with rage and fear, her true size bursting forth as she transformed into her full form. More explosions followed, energy weapons fired from multiple directions. The Empress's 2 guards moved to protect her, but there were too many attackers. Figures in dark armor poured into the cultural center, their weapons targeting Mirai specifically. "Get the children out," Mirai shouted. She unleashed her plasma breath, incinerating 3 attackers instantly. Her claws tore through armor like paper. She was magnificent and terrifying, a warrior empress defending her child and her friends. But the attackers had planned for this. They activated a device that hummed with strange energy. Suddenly Mirai stumbled. Her flames dimmed. Her movement slowed. A dampening field, something designed to weaken Draven powers. Daehyun saw Hana across the room, frozen with fear near the stage. Other children were screaming and crying, but Hana just stood there, too scared to move. Without thinking, Daehyun ran toward her. He dodged falling debris and energy blasts, his only thought to reach his daughter. He grabbed Hana and held her tight. Then he looked for Yuna. The young dragon was huddled near her mother, but Mirai was surrounded now, fighting desperately against the dampening field and the attackers. The Empress's guards were down, injured or dead. Daehyun made a choice. He could run with Hana to safety. The attackers were not interested in humans. He could escape. But that would mean leaving Yuna and Mirai to face this alone. He looked at his daughter's terrified face. "Hana, I need you to be very brave right now. Can you do that for Papa?" Hana nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I need you to hide under these seats and stay very quiet. Do not come out until I come back for you. Promise me." "Papa, no. Do not leave me," Hana cried. "I have to help Yuna and Mirai. They are family now. I will come back, I promise. But I need you to hide." He kissed her forehead and pushed her under the seats, covering her with fallen curtains. Then Daehyun ran toward the Empress. He had no weapons, no powers, no training for this kind of combat. But he had courage and desperation. He grabbed a piece of metal pipe from the debris and charged at the nearest attacker. The attacker turned, surprised that a human would dare interfere. That moment of surprise was enough. Daehyun swung the pipe with all his strength, hitting the attacker's weapon arm. The energy weapon fell from the attacker's grip. "Yuna, come to me," Daehyun shouted. The young dragon heard him and ran, scrambling toward the human who had become like a second father to her. Daehyun grabbed her and pulled her behind an overturned table, shielding her with his body once again. He looked around desperately. The building had a maintenance system he knew well since he worked in the trade hub. Similar systems, same technology. If he could reach the control panel, he might be able to do something. But it was across the room, and the Empress was between him and it, still fighting. Mirai was wounded now. Blood seeped from cuts on her sides. The dampening field had weakened her too much. More attackers were closing in, and she could not fight them all off. She looked toward Daehyun and Yuna, her eyes full of love and desperation. "Take her and run," Mirai shouted. "Save my daughter." But Daehyun shook his head. He could not leave her. She was his friend. She had shown him kindness and understanding. She had given Hana a sister in Yuna. He could not abandon her now. He looked at Yuna. "Stay here. Do not move no matter what happens. Understand?" Yuna nodded, too frightened to speak. Daehyun ran. He did not think about the danger. He did not think about dying. He just ran toward the maintenance panel, dodging energy blasts and debris. One blast grazed his shoulder, burning through his shirt. The pain was intense, but he kept going. He reached the panel and tore it open. His fingers flew over the controls, overriding safety protocols. He rerouted power from the building's main conduits, building up dangerous levels of energy. Then he triggered a cascade failure. Explosions rippled through the ceiling above the attackers. Lights burst. Power conduits exploded in showers of sparks and flames. The attackers scattered, confused and disoriented. The dampening field flickered and died as its power source overloaded. Mirai felt her strength return immediately. She roared, the sound shaking the entire building, and unleashed her full fury. Her flames filled the room, forcing the attackers back. Her claws cut through their armor. Within seconds, half of them were dead or fleeing, but 3 attackers had separated from the group. They moved toward Yuna's hiding spot, having tracked her energy signature. Daehyun saw them and his blood ran cold. He was too far away. The Empress was engaged with other enemies. There was no one else. Daehyun ran again. His legs burned. His lungs screamed for air, but he pushed himself harder than he ever had before. He reached the attackers just as they aimed their weapons at the small dragon child. He threw himself between them and Yuna. He spread his arms wide, making himself as big as possible, a human shield for an alien child. "You want her?" he gasped. "You go through me first." One of the attackers laughed. "Foolish human. Why would you die for an alien?" Daehyun thought about his answer. He thought about Yuna's smile, about the way she and Hana laughed together, about how Mirai had understood his pain and his struggles, about the friendship that had grown from one simple act of kindness. "Because she is my daughter's sister," he said simply. "Because her mother is my friend. Because she is a child who deserves to live." That is enough. The attackers raised their weapons. Daehyun closed his eyes and thought of Hana. He hoped she would understand why he had to do this. He hoped she would forgive him. 3 energy blasts fired at once. Daehyun felt the impact like being hit by lightning. White-hot pain exploded through his chest. His legs gave out and he fell to his knees. Behind him he heard Yuna screaming. Above the screaming, he heard a roar of pure rage and grief. Mirai moved faster than anything her size should be able to move. She was a golden blur of fury. The 3 attackers did not even have time to scream before she tore them apart. Her rage was terrible to behold, the wrath of a mother and an empress combined. In seconds, all the attackers were dead or had fled. Coalition security forces finally arrived, sealing off the building. But it was too late. The damage was done. Mirai rushed to Daehyun's side. She transformed back to her smaller form and caught him as he collapsed. His chest was burned badly, the energy blasts having seared through flesh and bone. Blood pooled beneath him. "No, no, no," Mirai whispered, pressing her claws against his wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. "You foolish, brave human. Why did you do that?" Daehyun tried to smile, but it came out as more of a grimace. "Had to protect her. Just like you would." "Hana needs you," Mirai said desperately. "You cannot leave her. Take care of her," Daehyun gasped. "Promise me, you will take care of my Hana." "I promise," Mirai said, tears falling from her eyes for the first time in decades. "But you will take care of her yourself. You will not die today. I will not allow it." She shouted orders to her security forces. "Get a medical ship here now. The best doctors in the Empire, move." Yuna crawled over to them, her scales dull with shock and grief. "Daehyun, please wake up. Please do not die." Hana emerged from her hiding place and saw her father lying in a pool of blood. She ran to him, sobbing. "Papa, Papa, no!" Daehyun used the last of his strength to reach for his daughter's hand. "Be brave, my little flower. I love you so much." His eyes closed. His hand went limp. Hana screamed. Yuna sobbed. And Empress Mirai held them all, her own tears mixing with theirs, as emergency medical teams rushed into the destroyed cultural center. The human who had given away his sandwich to a crying dragon child. The father who had sacrificed everything to protect someone else's daughter. Daehyun's mouth felt dry. His legs wanted to run, but he forced himself to stand still. Every survival instinct he had screamed at him to get away from this powerful creature. But he could not leave Yuna. He swallowed hard and found his voice. "My name is Daehyun, Your Majesty," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. I was just trying to help your daughter find you. She was scared and lost. Yuna peeked out from behind him and saw her mother. Her face lit up with joy. "Mama!" she cried and ran forward. The Empress caught her daughter gently in her massive claws, pulling her close. For a moment, the terrifying ruler looked like any mother reunited with her lost child. Relief and love filled her glowing eyes. "I was so worried," Yuna said, hugging her mother's arm. "But then Daehyun found me. He gave me his lunch and he was so nice to me, Mama. He did not run away or act scared." The Empress looked back at Daehyun. Her eyes studied him carefully, seeing things that others might miss. She saw the worn patches on his clothes. She saw how thin he was. She saw the tiredness in his eyes. And she saw the kindness there too, the same kindness he had shown her daughter. "You gave her your food," the Empress said. "It was not a question." "Yes, Your Majesty," Daehyun replied. "She was hungry and upset." "It was your only meal," the Empress continued, still watching him. Daehyun felt uncomfortable. "How did she know that?" "It does not matter, Your Majesty. She needed it more than I did." The Empress was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke again, and this time her voice was softer. "I watched you. I was there the whole time, hidden in the shadows. I saw everything you did for my daughter." Daehyun felt his cheeks grow hot. I just did what anyone would do." "No," the Empress said firmly. "You did not. Most beings would have walked away. They would have been too afraid to approach a Draven child, or they would have called security immediately. You knelt down to her level. You comforted her. You gave away your food even though you are clearly struggling yourself. You asked for nothing in return. That is not what most beings do, Daehyun. That is extraordinary." One of the guards stepped forward and whispered something to the Empress. She nodded and looked back at Daehyun. "My guard has informed me of who you are. You work here as a maintenance engineer. You are a widower with a young daughter. You struggle to make ends meet, yet you gave away your only meal. Why?" Daehyun thought about his answer carefully. He could lie and try to sound noble. But something told him this Empress would know if he was being false. So he told her the truth. "When I saw Yuna crying, I did not see an alien or a princess or someone important. I just saw a scared child. She reminded me of my daughter Hana. I thought about how I would feel if Hana was lost and alone somewhere. I would hope that someone kind would help her, would comfort her, would make sure she was safe. So I did for Yuna what I would want someone to do for Hana." The Empress's eyes seemed to glow brighter. Something in his words had touched her deeply. She looked down at Yuna, who was smiling up at her father's new friend. "In my culture," the Empress said slowly, "when someone shows great kindness to a member of the royal family, especially to my child, it creates what we call kreshava, a life debt. You have honored my daughter and protected her when she was vulnerable. This debt must be repaid." She gestured to her guards. "Name your reward, Daehyun. Wealth, a better job, a home in the Draven sector? Ask for anything within my power and it will be yours." Daehyun felt overwhelmed. Wealth, he could pay off all his debts. A better job? He could finally give Hana the life she deserved. A new home? They could leave their tiny apartment. But something felt wrong about accepting payment for kindness. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "I did not help Yuna because I wanted a reward. I helped her because she needed help. Because it was the right thing to do. I cannot accept payment for being kind." The corridor went very quiet. The guards looked shocked. Even Yuna stared at him with wide eyes. No one refused a gift from the Empress. It was considered a grave insult in Draven culture. But the Empress did not look angry. Instead, she looked fascinated. "You refuse my offer? Do you understand that no one has ever done this before?" "I mean no disrespect, Your Majesty," Daehyun said quickly. "I am honored by your offer. But I did not do anything special. I just helped a child. That should not require payment. If anything, knowing that Yuna is safe with her mother is reward enough for me." The Empress stared at him for a long time. Then slowly a smile crossed her fearsome face. "You are either very foolish or very wise, Daehyun. I have not decided which yet. But you interest me greatly." She set Yuna down gently. "You mentioned you have a daughter. Hana, you called her?" "Yes, Your Majesty. She is 5 years old." "I would like to meet her," the Empress said. "You have shown my daughter kindness. I would like to know more about the human who raised you to be so compassionate. And perhaps Yuna and Hana can become friends. My daughter has few opportunities to simply be a child." Your Hana sounds like she might be good for her. Daehyun did not know what to say. The Empress of the Draven Empire wanted to meet his daughter. In their tiny apartment, Of course, Your Majesty. But our home is very small and simple. It is not fit for royalty. I have lived in palaces for centuries, the Empress said. They are cold and full of politics and lies. Your small home raised a man of honor and kindness. That makes it more valuable than any palace. I will visit tomorrow if that is acceptable. It was not really a question. When an empress says she wants to visit, you do not say no. Daehyun bowed his head. Of course, Your Majesty. We would be honored. Yuna bounced excitedly. Really, Mama? I can meet Hana? And play with her? Yes, little flame, the Empress said, using what was clearly a pet name. You can meet your new friend. Yuna ran to Daehyun and hugged his leg. Thank you for the sandwich. Thank you for being nice to me. I cannot wait to meet Hana. Daehyun patted her head gently, careful of her small horns. She will be very excited to meet you too. The Empress gave him the address to send his home location to. Then she and her guards began to leave. But she paused and looked back at him. Daehyun, she said, you may have refused my reward today, but the debt still exists. In Draven culture, such debts do not simply disappear. One day I will find a way to repay your kindness, whether you want me to or not. That is my promise to you. Before he could respond, she and her entourage disappeared down the corridor, moving with surprising silence for such large beings. Yuna waved goodbye until they turned the corner. Daehyun stood alone in the empty corridor. His hands were still shaking, but now it was from the reality of what had just happened. He had met the Empress. He had given away his lunch to her daughter. And now the most powerful being in several galaxies was coming to visit his tiny apartment tomorrow. He looked at his watch. His lunch break was over. He needed to get back to work. His stomach growled, reminding him that he had not eaten. But somehow that did not seem to matter much anymore. As he walked back to the maintenance bay, he thought about what he would tell Hana. She was going to be so excited. A real alien princess coming to play with her. She would not believe it. He also thought about the Empress's words. She had watched him the whole time. She had seen him at his most vulnerable, giving away food he desperately needed. She had seen him comfort her daughter without knowing who Yuna was, and somehow that had impressed her more than if he had known and acted formally. Daehyun did not fully understand Draven culture or their concept of life debts. He did not know what it meant that he had created such a bond with their Empress. But he knew one thing for certain. His life had just changed in ways he could not yet imagine. That evening, when he picked up Hana from daycare, he told her about his day. Her eyes grew wide with wonder as he described Yuna and her beautiful scales and tiny wings. When he told her that Yuna and her mother were coming to visit tomorrow, Hana squealed with joy and hugged him tight. A princess is coming to our house? Hana asked, bouncing up and down. A real princess? Yes, Daehyun said, smiling at her excitement. But remember, Hana, she is just a child like you. We should treat her like we would treat any friend. Can you do that? Hana nodded seriously. I will share my toys with her. And we can play together. Do you think she likes coloring? I do not know, Daehyun admitted. But I am sure you two will find something fun to do together. That night, as he tucked Hana into bed, she asked him one more question. Papa, why did the Empress want to meet us? Are we important? Daehyun thought about how to answer. We are not important in the way that kings and queens are important. But I think the Empress saw that we have something valuable. We have kindness. We have love. We treat others with respect no matter who they are. Maybe that is important in its own way. Hana smiled sleepily. Mama always said that kindness was the most important thing. Yes, Daehyun said softly, thinking of his late wife. She did, and she was right. As Hana drifted off to sleep, Daehyun sat by her bed for a while, watching her peaceful face. Tomorrow would bring changes he could not predict. But tonight, in this quiet moment, he felt a strange sense of peace. He had done the right thing. He had been kind when he could have walked away, and somehow, that simple act had opened a door to a future he never could have imagined. Daehyun sat on the cold metal bench in the empty corridor of the Terran Galactic Trade Hub. His hands shook slightly as he unwrapped the sandwich he had made that morning. It was simple, just some cheese and vegetables between 2 slices of bread. This would be his only meal for the day. He had given the rest of the food to his daughter Hana before dropping her at daycare. The trade hub was quiet during lunch hours. Most workers went to the cafeteria, but Dae-hyun could not afford to eat there. He preferred this lonely spot anyway. It gave him time to think about his life, about his late wife Ji-woo, and about how he would pay next month's rent. Being a maintenance engineer did not pay much, but it was honest work. It was enough to keep Hana fed and safe. He was about to take his first bite when he heard something, a soft sound like crying. Dae-hyun stopped and listened carefully. Yes, there it was again. Someone was crying nearby. He put his sandwich down and stood up, following the sound through the maze of cargo containers. Behind a large blue container, he found her. A small creature huddled in the corner, sobbing into her tiny hands. She had shimmering scales that changed colors in the dim light from blue to purple to green. 2 small horns poked out from her head, and tiny wings were folded against her back. Dae-hyun recognized her species from the training videos. She was a Dreven, one of the dragon-like aliens from the powerful empire that ruled several star systems. Most humans were afraid of the Draven. They were big, powerful, and their empire was ancient. But this child looked so small and scared. She could not be more than 6 or 7 years old. Dae-hyun felt his heart break. She reminded him of Hana when she had nightmares. He knelt down slowly, making sure not to scare her. The little dragon girl looked up at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. Her scales had lost their shine, looking dull and gray with fear. Dae-hyun smiled gently at her. "Hello there," he said softly. "Are you lost?" The child nodded, fresh tears rolling down her scaled cheeks. She tried to speak, but only small hiccups came out. She was too upset to form words. Dae-hyun understood. He had seen Hana like this many times. "It is okay," he said. "You are safe now. My name is Dae-hyun. What is your name?" "Yuna," the small dragon managed to say between sobs. "That is a beautiful name, Yuna," Dae-hyun said. "Are you hungry?" "I have some food," Yuna nodded slowly. Dae-hyun went back to the bench and brought his sandwich. He sat down on the floor next to her, not on the bench above her. He wanted to be at her level, to make her feel less afraid. He unwrapped the sandwich and held it out to her. "Here, you can have it. I'm not very hungry anyway." He lied with a warm smile. Yuna looked at the sandwich, then at him, then back at the sandwich. Her small clawed hand reached out carefully and took it. She took a tiny bite, then another. As she ate, her scales began to glow a little brighter. The color came back to them, shifting through pretty shades of blue and silver. "Good?" Dae-hyun asked. Yuna nodded, still chewing. After she swallowed, she spoke more clearly. "I cannot find my mama. I wanted to see the humans. Everyone says humans are strange and weak. But I was curious. I followed my mama to the human sector, but then I got lost. I have been here for hours. Your mama must be very worried," Dae-hyun said gently. "Let me help you find her." "What does she look like?" "She is very big and very beautiful," Yuna said. "Her scales are gold and red. She has big wings and a crown. She is the Empress." Dae-hyun felt his blood run cold. The Empress? This child was the daughter of Empress Mirai, the ruler of the entire Draven Empire. He had just given his lunch to the most important child in several galaxies. His hands started shaking again, but not from hunger this time. But he could not let Yuna see his fear. She was just a scared child who needed help. It did not matter who her mother was. Dae-hyun took a deep breath and smiled. "Well then, we better find your mama quickly. She must be looking everywhere for you." He stood up and held out his hand. Yuna looked at it, then placed her small clawed hand in his. Her hand was warm, almost hot, but not in a bad way. It felt like holding a cup of tea on a cold morning. Dae-hyun helped her stand up and used his sleeve to wipe the remaining tears from her face. "Come on, let us go to the security office. They can help us find your mama." As they walked hand in hand through the corridor, Yuna looked up at him. "Are all humans like you?" She asked. "What do you mean?" Dae-hyun asked. "Nice, kind, you gave me your food even though you were hungry, and you are not scared of me." Dae-hyun thought about his answer. "I have a daughter about your age. Her name is Hana. When I saw you crying, I just saw a child who needed help. It did not matter that you looked different from Hana. You were scared and alone. I would hope that if Hana was lost somewhere, a kind person would help her too." Yuna smiled for the first time. Her scales glowed brighter, now showing beautiful shades of gold and pink. "I would like to meet Hana someday. I think we could be friends." "I think she would like that," Dae-hyun said. What Dae-hyun did not know was that someone had been watching them the entire time. Hidden in the shadows near the cargo containers, Empress Mirai had seen everything. She had tracked her daughter's energy signature and found her minutes after Yuna had gotten lost. But when she saw the human man approach, she stayed hidden, curious about what he would do. She watched him kneel down to her daughter's level. She watched him offer his only food without hesitation. She watched him treat Yuna with gentleness and respect, not with fear or fake politeness. She saw how her daughter's scales glowed again, how the fear left Yuna's eyes. This human had comforted her child better than any of the royal guards or servants ever could. The Empress studied him carefully. His clothes were old and worn. His hands had the marks of hard work. He looked tired and thin, as if he did not eat enough. Yet he gave away his food without a second thought. He did not know who Yuna was, did not know what reward he might gain. He helped simply because it was the right thing to do. In all her centuries of life, in all her dealings with countless species and kingdoms, Empress Mirai had rarely seen such pure kindness. Most beings wanted something in return. They acted nice because they hoped for rewards or feared punishment. But this human expected nothing. He was kind because that was who he was. As Daehyun and Yuna turned the corner, heading toward the security office, the Empress made a decision. She stepped out from the shadows and followed them silently. Her guards appeared from other hiding spots, moving like ghosts through the corridor. It was time to meet this remarkable human properly. The corridor ahead suddenly filled with a powerful presence. The lights seemed dim and the air grew warm. Daehyun stopped walking. He felt something behind him, something big and powerful. Slowly, he turned around, his hand instinctively pulling Yuna behind him to protect her. Standing before him was the most magnificent and terrifying being he had ever seen. She was massive, easily 3 times his height, with scales that shimmered in shades of gold and deep crimson. Her wings were folded against her back, but even folded, they seemed to fill the corridor. A crown of what looked like living flame floated above her head. Her eyes glowed with ancient power and intelligence. Behind her, a dozen armored guards appeared, their weapons ready. But the Empress raised one clawed hand and they stopped, staying back but watchful. Daehyun's heart pounded in his chest. He kept Yuna behind him, even though he knew he could not actually protect her from this powerful being. But his instincts as a father were too strong. He had to try. The Empress looked at him for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked everyone present. She bowed her head slightly, a gesture of respect that Dreven royalty almost never showed to anyone outside their own family. When she spoke, her voice was deep and powerful, but also warm. "You have shown kindness to my daughter. You protected her when you had nothing to give. Tell me, human, what is your name?" The man who had proven that courage was not about power or strength, but about choosing to do what was right, no matter the cost. Daehyun had earned his place in Dreven legend that Daehyun woke slowly. His mind felt foggy, and his body felt strange. Not painful exactly, but different. Heavy. He tried to open his eyes, but even that simple action seemed to take all his strength. When his eyes finally opened, he saw a ceiling that glowed with soft blue light. The air smelled clean, almost sterile, but with a hint of something sweet he could not identify. This was not a human hospital. The walls curved in impossible ways, and through a window he could see stars moving past. He was on a ship. He tried to sit up, and to his surprise, he could. His chest should have been screaming with pain. He had been shot 3 times at close range with energy weapons. He should be dead. But instead he felt healed. Weak, but healed. The door opened with a soft hiss. A tall, slender alien with silver skin and 4 arms entered. It wore what looked like medical clothing and carried a device that hummed softly. "Ah, you are awake," the alien said in perfect Korean, its translator working perfectly. "Please do not try to move too quickly. Your body has been through extensive regeneration. You need rest." "Where am I?" Daehyun asked, his voice rough from disuse. "You are aboard the Empress's personal medical vessel. You have been unconscious for 6 days. Her Majesty brought you here immediately after the attack and commanded us to use every resource available to save your life. We have done so." 6 days. Daehyun felt panic rise in his chest. "My daughter, Hana, where is she? Is she safe?" The doctor made a gesture that seemed meant to be reassuring. Your daughter is safe and well. She has been staying in guest quarters on this ship with Princess Yuna. The Empress herself has been caring for both children. They visit you every day, though you were too deep in medical sleep to know it. Relief washed over Daehyun so powerfully that he felt dizzy. Hana was safe. That was all that mattered. He lay back against the bed, suddenly exhausted from just that brief conversation. I will inform Her Majesty that you have awakened, the doctor said. She has been most anxious about your recovery. Most anxious indeed. The doctor left, and Daehyun was alone with his thoughts. He remembered the attack. He remembered the pain of being shot. He remembered making Hana hide, remembered running to protect Yuna, remembered standing between her and the attackers. He had thought he was going to die. He had accepted it. But somehow he was still alive. The door opened again, and this time it was a stampede. Hana ran in first, tears already streaming down her face. Papa, Papa, you are awake. She climbed onto the bed carefully, and Daehyun wrapped his arms around her, holding her close. She sobbed into his chest, and he felt his own tears falling. I am here, little flower. I am here. I am so sorry I scared you. Yuna entered next, moving more slowly. Her scales were dim, showing her worry and guilt. Daehyun, I thought you died because of me. I thought. Come here, Yuna, Daehyun said gently. The young dragon approached, and he reached out to pat her head just like he always did. I did not die, and you are not to blame for what happened. Bad people did a bad thing. That is not your fault. Yuna hugged him carefully, mindful of her claws. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for being so brave. Finally, Empress Mirai entered. She had kept her smaller form, but her presence still filled the room with power and majesty. She looked at Daehyun for a long moment, and he saw something in her eyes he had never seen before. Vulnerability, relief, and something else he could not quite name. Girls, let us give Daehyun and me a moment to talk, Mirai said gently. Why do you not go get something to eat? He will still be here when you return. Hana did not want to leave, but Yuna took her hand. Come on, let us let them talk. We can come back soon, I promise. The two girls left, leaving Daehyun alone with the Empress. She sat down in a chair that seemed to materialize from the floor, her movements careful and deliberate. For a long time she said nothing, just looked at him. I almost lost you, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. When you fell, when I saw your blood, I felt something break inside me that I thought had broken permanently when my mate died. I did not think I could feel that kind of fear again. I am sorry I worried you, Daehyun said. Sorry? Mirai looked at him with disbelief. You threw yourself in front of death to save my daughter, and you apologize for worrying me? Daehyun, you did not just save Yuna's life. You saved mine as well. If she had died, I would have died with her in every way that matters. She stood and moved closer to the bed. Do you remember what I told you about Kreshava? The life debt? You have now saved my daughter twice. First her spirit when you showed her kindness, and now her life when you stood between her and death. In Draven culture, this creates a bond deeper than blood. It is called Vrektal. I do not understand, Daehyun admitted. Vrektal means soul bond. It means you are no longer an outsider to my family. You are part of it, as surely as if you were born Draven. You are bonded to my bloodline, a protector and family member for all time. This is the highest honor my people can bestow. Daehyun did not know what to say. He had acted on instinct and love, not thinking about honor or rewards. I just did what anyone would do. No, Mirai said firmly. You did what almost no one would do. You are human. You have no powers. You should have run and saved yourself and Hana. Instead, you charged into danger to protect someone else's child. That is not common. That is extraordinary. She knelt beside his bed, bringing herself to his level. I want to offer you something, and I want you to truly consider it. Not as my subject, but as my equal and my friend. I want to invite you and Hana to come live in the Draven Empire. I want to give you a home there, A true home where you do not have to struggle or worry about money or food. I want Hana to receive the best education available. I want to formalize the bond between our families through adoption rights." She paused, and her next words were softer. "The girls already see each other as sisters. They love each other. And I have come to care for you as well, Daehyun. Not just as a friend, but as someone I trust completely. Someone I want in my life and in Yuna's life. Will you accept?" Daehyun felt overwhelmed. Leave Earth? Move to an alien world? It seemed impossible. But then he thought about his life on Earth. The constant struggle, the loneliness, the fear that he could not give Hana everything she deserved. He thought about the joy on Hana's face whenever Yuna visited. He thought about how Mirai understood him in ways no one else did. What would this adoption mean exactly? He asked carefully. It would mean that legally and spiritually, our families would be one. Hana and Yuna would be sisters in every way that matters. You would become Prince Consort of the Draven Empire. Not as my romantic partner, she added quickly, seeing his expression, but as an equal co-parent and trusted advisor. You would help me raise Yuna. I would help you raise Hana. We would face the future together, as family. I need to think about this, Daehyun said. I need to talk to Hana. This affects her too. Of course, Mirai said. Take all the time you need. But know this. Whether you accept or not, you will always have my protection and my friendship. The bond between us exists regardless of where you choose to live. Over the next few days, Daehyun grew stronger. He walked around the medical ship, amazed by the technology and beauty of Draven craftsmanship. He talked long into the night with Mirai about what life in the Empire would be like. She was honest about both the good and the challenges. Most importantly, he talked to Hana. He explained everything carefully, making sure she understood that this was a choice they would make together. Would Yuna really be my sister? Hana asked. Like a real sister? Yes, Daehyun said. In every way that matters. And you would not be so tired all the time? And we would not have to worry about food? No, we would not have to worry about those things anymore. Hana was quiet for a long time. Then she looked up at him with her mother's wise eyes. Mama always said that family is the people who love you and take care of you. Empress Mirai loves us, does she not? And we love her and Yuna? Yes, Daehyun said. We do. Then I think we should go, Hana said simply. I think Mama would want us to be with people who love us, and I really, really want Yuna to be my sister. Daehyun hugged his daughter close. Are you sure? It will be very different from Earth. I am sure, Papa. You almost died protecting Yuna. That means she is worth protecting. That means she is family, and family should stay together. The wisdom in his 5-year-old daughter's words made Daehyun smile. She was right. Somehow, in the simplest way possible, she had captured the truth of the situation. That evening, he told Mirai his decision. We will accept your offer. Hana and I will come to the Draven Empire. We will become part of your family. The joy that lit up Mirai's face was beautiful. Her scales glowed brilliant gold, and tears shimmered in her eyes. You honor me beyond words. I promise you, I will care for Hana as if she were my own, and I will value your counsel and your friendship always. She called for the girls, and when they heard the news, they squealed with joy and hugged each other. We are going to be real sisters, Yuna said, her scales cycling through every color of happiness. Forever and ever, Hana agreed. Daehyun watched T.